some exciting information. We really wanted to use this opportunity to speak to other Infoteam members a bit about what we've been doing with various customers, two in particular, and how our experiences really with developing tailor-made applications, custom applications that sit on M3. So hopefully this will be useful to you all. I'm going to just give you a little bit of background, and then there'll be some practical examples. So yeah, hopefully it will be this will be a useful webinar. Just to kind of quickly show you an agenda here. So obviously I'll introduce Nordlys as a company, and then we will have a practical example of what the work we've been doing with Nordsea Group, which is we've been building a planning board for them, and then another example with Flock, which is really a machine learning based order processing pilot that we are undertaking at the moment. So yeah, that's also extremely exciting. So my colleagues Arif and David will talk about those and present these cases to you. And then I really want to open the floor up for questions. If you're more comfortable asking in Norwegian, dere kan bare gjøre det. Arif will be able to, or myself will be able to, translate for the rest of the team that don't speak Norwegian. But it would be really great to also get some interactivity towards the end of this session, just to kind of get feedback from other Infoteam members on what their thoughts are about this. Because as I've said, and as you'll see, we have some very real world examples, but it would be really interesting to sort of hear if there are how this might apply to other companies as well that are using M3. So yeah, so with respect to questions, then please just if you can just sort of store them for the end, and hopefully there'll be lots of them. So a little bit about Nordlys. So we're not ERP consultants as such, so we're very familiar with the ERP world. We have been working with ERP for a number of years, but we're not specifically working directly within the M3 within the ERP environments themselves. So we like to call ourselves digital business wizards. Essentially, we are really looking at how can we utilize the data that sits within an ERP environment in a way that is really leveraging it to improve business processes, derive added value. So we actually we love ERP, but we're not directly working within it. And also we're ERP agnostic. So this obviously the focus here today is Infor M3, which we are very familiar with. But in principle, we're also able to work with other ERP systems as well, such as SAP, Dynamics, or IFS, etc. So we really, as I said earlier, the main thing we're focusing on is developing applications that improve ERP data utilization and improve business processes. This is really the driving factor here. You know, we really want to really take the value of the data that's sitting within ERP and bring it out of that in terms of, you know, let's say addressing some of the inherent limitations that do exist, trying to sort of or work to get around that and build extra value on top. So who do we work with? These are our primary partners. So we're working very closely with Embrick, who are obviously well known to many in this group within Infoteam. We're also working with AppFarm and Agonics. We can go a bit more into that later on through the demos. And also we're working very closely with AWS, and that is really AWS, and we are looking at use cases like, for example, the Flock use case, where we can really utilize some of the tool sets that are out there and bridge those tool sets to M3 and kind of allow them to work with each other. So there'll be a bit more about that later on as well. In terms of the environment that we are working with right now, this is essentially the end-to-end schematic. Hopefully this makes sense. As you can see, we have a bridging environment which connects into to M3. This is the Agonics bridge, and we develop on top of that. So we are not developing the product itself. We're developing, as I said, the custom technology that sits on top of technology such as the Agonics bridge. So really this kind of leads on to our perspective actually. So as I've had a few conversations around this, ERP is, I believe, a really important part of any business. Of course, it's actually the brains, it's the storage, it's the data repository, it's the let's say the octopus that has all the tentacles, connected out to all the different business units. It's really pivotal, really important that it's its central place within a business. So we're not trying to in any way sort of change that or disrupt that. In fact, if anything, we want to really increase the let's say the volume or the ingress of data into ERP systems, because the more data there is, the more we have to work with. But at the same time, there are some inherent limitations within ERP, and we would like to address those. So rather than trying to really change the ERP world so that it's maybe, let's say, has improved user interfaces or has improved scalability or those kind of things, it's better for us to actually customize on top of M3 rather than within it. And of course, what we like to do is solve problems that are, let's say, ubiquitous, that they exist in across multiple companies. So what we're also finding, and hopefully we'll get some feedback from you today participating in this, that the problems that we've solved with our existing customers, that they are also they could be solved maybe in a similar way or with some kind of tweaking in other for other customers or other companies as well. For example, if you're dealing with a logistics problem in a shipping company, that could also be transferable to road transport or something like that. And of course, there's a couple of reasons for that. The main thing is that we want to leverage what we've already built, because that's obviously one of the challenges with customized code, is that we want to we don't want to be reinventing the wheel the whole time. So I'm just going to quickly run through just some notes that I've pulled up, that I put together, just regarding the ERP landscape as we see it right now. And I won't linger too much on these things. I'm not a designer, so this is just. But unfortunately, we have Midjourney, or in this case, I think this was DALL-E actually. So this is not my own work, guys. I know it's. I just want to kind of take you through the ERP landscape and the market as we see it right now, and hopefully we sort of hit some interesting points, and then we'll move on to the practical examples. So yeah, so what we're seeing with ERP is that there's some rigidity in data structures. there's some challenges with the user interfaces. It's not necessarily user-centric in terms of the way that it's been designed. There are some limited real-time capabilities, and that's really because there's a lot of the day-to-day is based around batch processing, or and that can obviously result in some delays in accessing critical applications, critical information. And also scalability challenges. So having the data or having the system sort of being growing within ERP environments, sometimes it's better to have that sitting outside. And of course, it can be difficult to integrate because there is the ERP systems are inherently complex. Quite pricey to upgrade, and limited support for niche operations. This is why we're talking about customization here. Is the more that ERP moves to the cloud, the more standardized it becomes, the less tailored it is for specific requirements, and therefore it's kind of a bit slow to respond to business change. And then just to kind of give you a quick overview of how we see the custom app landscape, what happens by using or by bringing custom apps into the picture, then we can address a lot of those limitations inherent within ERP. We can have much more user-centric interfaces. You will see this in the presentations that are coming up, or the demos that are coming up now. We are working in real time, so ultimately custom apps can address the data lag, and also can be also allow for more scalability and adaptability. I'll skip over the rest for now. And as I mentioned earlier, we are really focused on real-time EDA custom applications. So that's real-time event-driven architecture-based applications. We're really focused on this. Why is that? Basically, there's an enhanced agility inherent with this. We can really build much more quickly, in a much more composable manner. We can build applications that are much more tailored to specific needs. And we're much more capable of automating, and that's something that again we're going to demonstrate shortly. We can customize. Now, sometimes I know that customizing has been a bit of a dirty word. I'm going to linger on this point a little bit. Actually, customization has definitely been a problem. Let's say earlier in the industry, maybe 20 years ago or so, because a lot of customization was very bespoke, very tailored to a particular need or a particular organization, and then very easy to break. But what we're seeing now is, because there is a lot more, first of all, there's the move to the cloud, which basically means that there is let's say a much more standardized set of tools that are available, plus that custom apps that are much more interoperable and are able to sit on the cloud, that they're also much more transferable. That inherent kind of lock-in that you get with a bespoke tool, let's say 20 years ago, that doesn't exist anymore. Right now, you can actually create new tools, and you're not going to be in a situation where they're somehow holding you to ransom further down the line. And this kind of really ties into sort of the market trends that we're seeing now. There's a growing interest in customization. That's why we're having this webinar right now. That's why there's quite a lot of people watching this, which is great. Also, there's the emergence of low-code platforms. Arif will speak a bit more about that. And there's a growing interest in AI and machine learning integration into ERP systems, and of course cloud adoption. We all know that Infor really wants us to move to the cloud, and that carries with it some inherent challenges. So but it's also a lot of opportunities there as well. So that's the world as we see it at the moment. Trying to navigate through here. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I've got to say, and that's pretty much right on time. So I'm going to hand over to my fantastic colleagues, Arif and David. I guess, Arif, you're going to just hijack the screen from me now, aren't you? Isn't that what you're going to do?
That was kind of the idea. So let's see how that works. It's always interesting when we are 3 different places in the world trying to do that. And hopefully you will be able to see my screen as well. So thank you so much, Paul, for the introduction. So what me and David will be doing, talk a little bit more about the examples. In this case, I will start with the North Sea Logistics, a great company that is important, at least for us Norwegians. In that case, nothing will be coming out of those oil pumps if can't deliver what's needed on board there. And for those who don't know that, North Sea provide all the logistics for the companies like Equinor and others who are operating in the North Sea. And so this is a real use case in production, so it's not a foilware. But let's look a little bit about why they're doing this. I mean, at this moment in time, they're making quite a lot of money, but they have also some responsibility back to us who lives on this planet. And one of the things that they're obviously aware of is that supply chains generate more than 50% of all carbon emission at this moment. So that's something they really want to do. That's kind of part of their vision, is to be more greener, smarter and safer. So that's one of the things they want to address with digital solutions. And if you look at some of the numbers and facts of them, North Sea drive forklifts. So this is a North Sea base. They're quite big. They're so big that they drive 18 times around the globe. That's a lot of truck driving with, for time being, diesel, but hopefully that will be changed and with the electrical vehicles. But for now, it's diesel. They have about 50 million NOK today under their vessel utilization every day. But the market is around 1 billion per day in offshore industry. So they want to kind of capture that market. And there's many ways to do that. You can obviously grow by buying up others. You can hire more people and so on. But in the end, they also have to be able to handle that number of new orders that might come in. And the way they was doing that in previous, which David will actually show you with so you can see it with your own eyes, is quite cumbersome. I mean, they're using M3. They love M3. Everything is inside M3. All their processes are inside M3, but they have a little bit hard time getting an overview, and it took a long time to train specifically the people who were using it. So that is kind of also going to be a bottleneck when you're trying to grow your market share, as they want to do that. They want to grow into different new kind of, with the wind coming in, they want to grow into that as well. But it doesn't really help if that's there's gonna be a bottleneck there. And so after they worked with us, so short-term results they've seen, they have 40% reduction in resource needed to plan shipments. They have real-time information on every resource allocation for all employees in one single view. Because before that, there was obviously in M3, you just have to know all the abbreviations or name of the programs to do that. And then training of new personnel is reduced from 3 months, 3 to 6 months to half a day. Tyler, who is the guy who runs this, he's down there. He is going to be also on our next webinar that Paul will talk about in that. And he he believes that he can even train me, somebody outside the domain, to be able to take the booking and plan a shipment, which is I'm not sure if he understands what he's saying, but he is quite sure about that. So that's kind of what they have achieved. So let's have a look at this amazing system then. So David, let's do demo.
All right,
So,
here I am. I will share a screen. Sorry. First, let's go through how NSC planners operate with the current M3, how they have done in the past. Arif will show the slide.
Yeah, sorry,
so
because
current...
you took over screen a little bit too early. It was so now you can see the slide again.
Yeah, so Tyler has gone with us through this. How do they manage the M3? How to plan? In general, ERPs, it's not only M3, are a bit overwhelming. They offer too much data, and the data you need maybe is a bit spread across programs and tables. So the typical workflow for him is, okay, load the work orders, the most 100 program. You will see all the work orders, try to find the right one, get the ID. Now you want to allocate a person to that work order, right click, materials and items, loading, open another table because you don't have all the information yet, click, loading, copy the ID, right click. And as everybody knows that I use M3, this is a quite tedious, it's not intuitive, and it's slow. So we can do better. This is the main issue, and that's why it takes 6 months for someone to train to how to plan with M3. In our system, it can take 1 or 2 days to start to deliver value. A planner can understand and see easily what's happening. I will demo a bit of this application so you can see. Maybe you're not interested in vessels and oil, but as you will see, all these concepts are M3 concepts. I will share a screen. Yes, you can see here, this is a timeline. So the work orders are spread across the timeline. I can scroll to see tomorrow's orders. I can go back. I can change the date. In the top, I have a drop down where you can see the facilities. Again, this is common M3 programs, facilities, maintenance items, work orders, operation lines. So I want you to get inspired with this demo to see how you could apply this to your own needs. Let's start clicking one of these work orders. Instantly, you will see everything the planner needs to take the decision how to manage this operation. Instantly. All information, all the operation lines, who is assigned to what, work order notes from the customer, attachments, and this information is spread across M3 as they have this very flexible and modular system. You can do so great things with M3, but when it comes to planning, you want to have the right information in front of you when you're applying the work orders. So this is, I want you to see this from the perspective of it's not only what you need, is also what you don't need. Everything that you don't need is just noise. Is more hassle. It distracts you from your tasks. So this is I think the power of building custom applications. You have what you need and you discard everything you don't need. From this point, from this demo, I want you to take 3 things. This application is intuitive, it's real-time. If Arif, for example, will be working on this planning board and he will be dragging one of these orders, it will update my planning board in real time. So everything you see is constantly updating. and its resilience, because if M3 goes down or it is in a maintenance mode for 2-3 hours, still you can keep using this application. I will go back to the slide so we can see, if you are technical and you want to see how this works behind the scenes, we can show a diagram where you can see very simplistic way, but in the next slide, you can see here M3, the red box, and we have a connector where real-time data is flowing and feeding the data to the applications. We can have a planning board application. We can have a different, for example, NSE wanted, what if we show the planning board to our customers so they can see what's going on with their orders? Equinor wants to see what's happening in their ports. So we created and cloned the application and restrict to only see what's going on, but not able to edit. So this is just one more application. There is no one that the system is working. It's just a matter of keep adding functionality that you need. Maybe Arif can scare you for a bit in the next slide.
This is an actual technical part, but if you don't have to read this, if you want, you can come and talk to Karol, who's also on the call and who is the architect. So that's if you want to do that, but we're not going to go through that, right, David?
Yeah. I mean, you can ask him questions later in the Q&A, and he will be scared for the rest of the presentation. Oh, no, but of course, yeah, we can book a meeting to talk through it. Still, this application is in development. Now we have a new application working on where we will be doing invoicing of all these operation lines and starting, stopping times and invoicing the right quantities. So it's easy for the planner to review before it goes to finances. And this is quite exciting, and it's again another step to centralize all the planning and all the management of operations in one application, because before they have different places how to organize all this.
Yeah. And as I mentioned before, Tyler, who is the man behind the whole thinking, will be also available in next webinar that Paul will talk about in the end. So in case you want to hear it from him himself, why he is doing that. Okay. Yeah, that is Nosy Group. So hopefully you have some questions to end, and or you can write them down also in the chat. The next case we wanted to talk about is a little bit more futuristic. It is obviously things are happening. If hopefully you've been not too busy working all the time, you probably heard that something happened, end of 2022 that kind of changed a little bit of the way we think about AI these days. I'm just quickly going to talk about how we see that happening, and then move a little bit into what is Flock doing with that. So I just want to start with this because there is always a question of, but this is not going to work for me, or this is too slow, or this is never going to happen. The problem is that we as a human are quite creative and inventive. It can go both ways. Hopefully it will go in the right way, that we're going to be able to use this computing power that we will have available in a couple of years or maybe 10 years, that will make our life easier for good of the humanity. But I am using Ray Kurzweil's predictions. He is really good at predicting technology. He's been doing that since 1990, and he has been quite accurate with them. He was quite accurate when he even predicted when Soviet Union would fall, and one of the reasons was the speed of telecommunication was the reason. But he's been quite good at predicting this. But also, if you look at how fast we're moving, going forward, if you ask the question after looking the demo, is this possible? Well, I mean, yeah, you can think that way, or you can think that the world is moving in an exponential growth, not linear. So that's kind of why I wanted to just take up this slide. And as I said, it's just exploded, right? You probably heard, you all heard about so much, your friends, your families, your kids are using ChatGPT or Copilot from Microsoft, or something from Bard from Google, and so on. There is good things and there is bad things happening around that, but hopefully this is with every hype, we will hopefully find something useful, and that's kind of what I think is important. But in case you kind of, just to bring home the point, I don't know, Paul mentioned he has been using DALL-E or Midjourney, Paul, to design his slides. That's great. But I just want to see just tell you how fast this thing is moving, especially the generative AI part. So that basically I'm going to show you a prompt that you can ask, for example, DALL-E or Midjourney to do. And in the first version, it wasn't very good. But as you can see in the version 6, it did much better job. And how long do you think it took from the first version to the last version? I know it's a little hard to say it here, but it didn't take long. It took under 2 years. So this is the speed we're moving at the moment, and it's a bit scary, and especially if you look at the side-by-side of version 1 and version 6. This is reality, guys. This is what's happening. But at the same time, what does it mean for me? I'm here on an ERP webinar. Why are you talking about Midjourney? Yeah, it's because we actually can draw some similarities between AI and ERP as well. One thing that ERP have, as everybody mentioned, had a lot of data, about your business. It's where everybody wants to actually have access to, because that's where the gold is. That's where you actually know what you're gonna make money and so on, right? It's not a tool. It's not a toy. It's a tool that you use. And then on the other side, AI needs a lot of data. And I believe that if you combine ERP and AI, you will become superheroes. I'm not thinking about making AI the superhero here. I don't believe in that. I believe that we humans should be using this new superpower. And that's what we're here to do. And so, interestingly enough, I talked to Flock, Jon Birger. He is a very forward-leaning guy, on Infoteam meeting in September. And he asked me, we talked about AI, and he asked me, but AI is just a toy. It doesn't, it's fun. It's fun for kids. It's fun. It's not very fun for creating jokes, by the way, because it's very bad at jokes. But it's so much fun. So how can we use it in a business setting? And so Flock was, and we thought together, we came up with a use case that I believe is really going to be a game changer if it's implemented correctly. And that's where we went together with Flock and AWS and came up with this case from Flock. And Flock has graciously let me show this. Jon Birger will be an Infoteam himself, hopefully next time, and talk about this in real time, real demo. But just to go through the case, Flock, if you don't know it, you're probably sitting on one of their chairs. They are one of the biggest furniture companies for producing chairs, have 10 different brands, and they are have 7,000 to 10,000 dealers across Asia, Americas, and Europe, where you can go and check their chairs, test them out, and buy them from them. These dealers, they send orders to Flock. They send them in about 75,000 orders, 3 to 4 order lines, so about 300 order lines per year. And they do it in approximately 5,000 different formats, sadly. So basically, they send it in PDFs. This is how they receive an order, and they are different because they're using their system to send it. And they can be in different languages. Here is a Dutch, but it could be in any other language, and then you need to use Google Translate to do that. So there is no standard language, there's no standard layout, there's no standard file format for this. And there is so many product configurations. A chair is not just a chair. A chair has 1,200 different suppliers that you can choose from, has 12,000 different materials you can put on. But not all materials can be put on every chair. So most of the time, people are sending the wrong types of configuration to Flock. And they have a team of 55 FTEs that manage these orders today. They are sitting different places in the world, but many of them also in the Nordic. And they have to go back and forth 3-4 times to just ask them if this is what they meant, but this is not the right, maybe you mean this, and so on. It's a lot of work they have to do. And then when they're done, then they can start producing. Then they can start planning actual production. So all this back and forth needs to happen very, very fast so that don't miss perhaps something important when it comes to producing a batch. And that is what we decided together with Flock, that we're going to help them automate the whole process. That means that we will be using generative AI. Maybe you heard the term large language models. We want to train these specifically for Flock, so they are private, so they cannot be shared with anybody else. And then we're gonna hopefully make the life, not necessarily removing people. It's not about that. It's about helping these people to be able to reply with the right answer, maybe immediately, by checking M3 data, by checking what they ordered before, by checking the status in the planning. They can actually come up with a really good suggestion and increase the customer happiness as well with this. So this is the whole order processing part in Flock, but we are only focusing on this first part. Hopefully, we will take on bigger parts, but we're going to see, and hopefully in April, we will not just show up a POC, but maybe something working. There are many systems involved, including sales CRM systems as well, that needs to be integrated with. But everything is still on top of M3. So we're using M3 data to actually train with CRM data as well. So that's what we're doing. So actually, with that, enough talking. It's demo time again. And David, you can take over the screen.
All right. This is a proof of concept for Flock, where we created an example order. This is the SKU of the order. This is the description, this beautiful chair. And we're going to feed this PDF just now in front of you. Let's go to upload. Let's upload the PDF, and let's see AWS AI, how it interprets this PDF. But not only this, we're going to give these custom rules for the system. We're going to invent these rules, SKUs, starting with this code. That belongs to the old catalog. So we should suggest to the dealer to update them. And only SKUs with 6 characters are valid. Let's upload also these rules to the system. And now let's do the demo. So I click this button to process it. We ask what are the SKUs in the order. And let's see, AI, what answers? The SKUs are correct. They're valid. And it's telling me, hey, you should advise to. So this is a huge help. We are amplifying, empowering these people to act. And also we can provide the links so you can click and see exactly what chair they're talking about and what customizations they have applied to it. So you can verify. And again, it's about workflow. It's about having the right data in front of you and not any other noise or things that you don't need. And this will speed up and of course it will increase productivity of the people. And this is just the beginning. We have just built some basic proof of concept, but we can use machine learning. We can use different systems and technologies to use the right tool for each step of the flow.
Yeah, and I also want to add, David, is that AI has been here for many, many years. It's nothing new. all of you are using AI to do. Even during this Teams call, there's AI in place so that nobody can hear if somebody is playing music behind me. It's cut out. That's AI. But the thing that is different this time, David, is that if you flip over to the upload tab again, is that you can actually suddenly you can talk with AI in a language you understand. You don't need to be a developer to update the rules. You can basically do it in a language. You can do it any language. You can do it in Spanish. You can do it in Dutch, whatever language you want. It will understand that and it will adhere to that. So that's that is the big leap towards the new generative AI. So I hope this demo will be much more comprehensive. I hope that David, right, we will be working with Amazon to make a full demo by Infoteam, hopefully. So that's kind of the goal. Yeah, I'm promising too much, but yeah, that's as optimist I am, I'm do that. But and thank you, David, for this demo. I'm gonna switch over to the slide again, and then we can end with the Paul back again. So we are there. You go, Paul. You will soon see the slides. And Paul,
thanks very much.
Thank you.
That was great. Okay, well, before we talk about the upcoming webinar, I should have had a questions splash screen there. I didn't put that through OpenAI. Sorry, guys. So let's just pretend that that says questions. So yeah, I'd really like to open the floor up now. If anyone has any questions regarding what we've demoed or anything we've talked about, you can either just speak to us or put something in the chat. Yeah, is there anyone there who wants to ask any questions? Oh, we have something. How are you training the models? Okay, is something maybe for Carol?
Still, we are not in that step of training the LLM models. We are customizing at prompt level. We can provide instructions and
so for now we are reusing the existing LLM models. We are not coming up with our own, but that's for now, right? This is only for the POC purposes.
That said, Flock also told us that they have plenty of training data, PDFs, and how they became final orders. So we can feed this to a machine learning or training an LLM for this purpose. Yeah, but this will come in the time. Yeah, in the right time. That's a good question. Yeah. Because there is many ways of doing this. Yeah.
Hope that answers your question, Majid. Anybody else? It's very quiet out there at the moment.
Bit early, perhaps, as we say it in Norwegian.
Okay, no questions at all.
I have a question regarding the connector to M3.
Yeah.
Agionics or whatever it's called. M3 data can be a bit static sometimes. How do you make that real time in a way? Are you continuously polling M3 to get new data, or is it some custom application built on top of that?
I mean, I will give you a very that I don't have the tech because I am the one from Agionics in this case here. So my team is building that connector. So it's not just a connector; it's also a storage. So it's important. So it does store the data in an event store, and then it will then monitor using if standards like webhooks are available. We'll use that. So every time anything changes, we'll monitor and make sure that's updated. But the first time you obviously have to fetch the data, and we also make sure that we update it once a day in case something is missed. I think Carol and who's working with the data from us, he can kind of say a little bit about that, how is to work with that, Carol?
We have another question. Yeah, but just to also build upon that, what Ari said is basically true. Yeah, we are basically listening right to the changes to the table. So whenever there is a change in the table that you are interested in, you get the notification from the connector, from the M3 rather. And also you do this initial re-export where you basically fetch the initial state and you build upon that, right? So you are just listening to the changes, and there is this what Arif has also explained, this one daily job, which also ensures that you didn't miss any updates. But there's basically it's pretty simple if you think about it like that. And yeah, it's working with that is pretty easy because the connector also translates the raw data which comes from the M3 into more I would say more proper messages, more easily consumed by the application, right? So we can call them events maybe or the messages. It's not raw data.
Yeah, thanks. And thank you, Carol. And I can also move to the next question is kind of Albert is asking, how do you ensure you grab the right data with the right quality from right sources? Is the data governed? One important thing, Albert, is that we don't do anything outside the M3 governance model. So we actually adhere to the way everything's standard. We use the standard APIs. We actually also write back using standard APIs. The only thing we try to do is to make it easier for developers to understand who don't come from ERP background. So that's where we kind of come in and put ourselves in between. There is other ways to do that. You can do some kind of API tool on top of it and do just API calls directly. But we also want to make sure that with event-driven architecture, you can actually make things more real-time, and also, if M3 should go down once a while, even cloud version of Infor M3 needs 2 hours every month or something downtime. So no, we can still handle that, but we don't go and just fetch data directly from database, if that was what you were asking for, because that
also
will be, yeah.
Yeah, also maybe just more granular answer will be also that you can configure in which tables you are interested in the connector, of course, and also connector gives you a lot of options to filter the data. And then on the also applications level, right, when you are consuming the data from the M3, you can also discard the data. You can also build there are some attributes that you can discard by, right? So there are multiple levels of filtering included there, I would say. And you are configuring the tables that you're interested in. It's not like we are grabbing everything from the M3.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Any other questions? You can take over, Paul, if you.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think then we're pretty much there. I hope that has been informative and useful and maybe inspiring. So as Arif has mentioned before, we have another webinar coming up. Our Agonics will be presenting along with North Sea Group. North Sea Group themselves actually will be taking you through how the product we've developed for them has really sort of improved their business processes much more from a customer perspective. Also, we will be speaking at Infoteam as well, most likely about the Flock case, which will be somewhat more advanced by then. So with that in mind, hopefully you can see my slide here because something has gone with my computer. Can you see it?
Yeah, we can see that.
Yes.
Great. Okay. Well, there you have my contact details. I'm looking forward to hearing from anyone that is interested in finding out more about what we're up to. And I think with that in mind, I can give you 8 minutes more of the hour on this wonderful Friday to go and grab a coffee before your next meeting.
Thursday.
We
Of course,
wish
it's
it was
1st of
right.
February, isn't it? Yeah, wishing the week away. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you. Nice presentation.
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you. Thank you very
Bye
much.
bye.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Yep. Thank you. Have a great day.